6 Dove Awards.
6 Dove Awards.
I think one of them, this what I always loved about you. I mean, there was a time, because I was managing a Group 1 crew, that there was a time, I think you were winning all the Doves, and then Group 1 crew came.
Oh, absolutely.
And started winning them.
Yeah.
But you won, I think it was like the turning point. Group 1 won a Dove, and then you won.
Yeah.
But we all knew in our back of our minds, like,
Conversation.
tell them what you did with one of your Doves with Lecrae.
You knew this?
Yeah, you told me this. You told me what you were going to do with your Dove Award when you were there, when you won it.
I told you that?
Yes, you did.
So that actually started with a conversation with Manuel. Because we were like, we don't deserve this.
Yeah.
We both looked at each other like, the guy in the audience that's watching us win these is actually the guy who deserves it.
Right.
The irony was, what kept happening is,
I am Jeff Adams, and man,
Jeff, good to see you, man.
It's been a long time.
It's a 30-year reunion.
30 years
It's
to
great.
this day.
Yes.
At this hour.
Right here.
We met
in a park, at a dimly lit parking lot.
at McDonald's parking lot.
It was.
And you got a number 6 supersize with a milkshake.
Yeah, and you
But it's not really a milkshake.
bummed $5 off me.
I didn't.
You did.
I did not. Did I really?
Yes.
No, there's no way.
You didn't. You gave me $5.
I gave you $5?
That's the old switcheroo.
Because you were like a couple years behind me.
I was.
Yeah, because I'm going to be 52 like a week and a half. And you're
5'2". I'm just 5'2".
That's right.
Yeah.
So what do I call you now, man? You like, thank God for social media, I can keep up with you.
Thank you, man.
But like, what do I call you now? Do I call you Jonah? Do I call you KJ-52? Or do I call you Pastor Jonah?
We have enough history that I think you should call me Jonah.
Jonah.
That's how far we go back.
And speaking of which, I know this is, it's never dated because this impacted me like this past Sunday.
Yeah.
Obviously you had a relationship with Chris Chicago.
I did.
And what a phenomenal human being that dude was.
Honestly, I didn't want to post anything because I feel like it's a goodbye, and I don't want to say goodbye to somebody that I met on the first tour
Yeah.
I ever did, like first when I got signed.
Yeah.
And I have so many great memories of him that I don't.
Well, I mean, what can you say about him? I mean, you know how I felt better about the whole situation? I went on Facebook that night, and all my friends list is pretty much Nashville people, pictures of Chris Chicago. That dude left a mark, like in Christian hip hop, not just like for a genre of music, but just literally as a human being. Like he was just full of love, man.
He really was, and he fought hard for the genre way before it was cool to do that.
Yeah.
He fought hard to get it onto platforms that were absolutely opposed to it. Genuinely loved it. And then sidebarred into like, let's also have wrestling on top of that.
I remember he wrestled at Flavor Fest.
Let's have a wrestling fest.
He was so stoked about that. He was like, I'm gonna wrestle, man. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude?
And to the last time I ever saw him, he still would hit me with a,
dude, he was one of a kind.
I don't want to put anything up outside of what other people put up, just because I feel like I don't want to say goodbye to somebody.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's like, because I did a lot of work with him, you know, from the back end stuff, and we do radio tours on the West Coast.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like, it hit me hard but I talked to him a year prior. We talked like on the phone for like 3 hours in 2023. And then we kind of kept it back and forth. And I knew I was in that group, keeping up with what was going on. But I felt better because the therapy for me, like when you know someone like that made an impact on you, and you realize, I went on Facebook, and I know that sounds crazy. I felt better because I said, this dude did it.
Yeah.
He took every moment of his life and he impacted a whole industry.
Absolutely.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
So 30 years I've known you, and we have so many stories. I don't even know which, I mean, I've got a couple jotted down, but I think the one special one that I remember is, I think I went through a bad breakup or something.
Okay.
I split up with my rap group.
Okay.
You were like on the up and up. Like you were getting some heat. You were talking to Todd Collins.
Yeah. And late 90s then, probably.
No, this was 95, 96 maybe. Oh, so you weren't hooked up with Todd then?
No, I didn't meet Todd till about 99 maybe.
Okay, so you said, hey, what are you doing? I'm going up to GMA week. I said, well, can I go with you? Yeah, we got in your Honda Civic. We got up and we drove. I was all heartbroken. I didn't know what I was going to do. I split up with my band.
Oh my God.
I left Grape Tree Records.
Yes, I remember this.
And I was just a mess. I didn't know what to do. And you said, hey, bro, just come up with me, man. And I'm like, all right. So we got in the car, started driving. I said, this is going to be great. Then you blow a tire out.
Literally on the Florida-Georgia border.
Yeah.
Like 5 miles from the Florida-Georgia border.
And every time I drive out there, which is, it's not that often, when I look over, it's still there. And I think of that moment because we went to go change the spare tire and there was some special lug nut.
I didn't have the wheel key. It was a brand new, I just bought the car while I was in college and they never gave me the wheel key, which basically meant that I couldn't take the wheel off.
Yeah.
It was impossible.
So we sat there, we had to get that crappy hotel.
That was like, literally within walking distance, which shows you that the Lord had his hand on the whole thing. We blow a tire out in front of a hotel room.
Yeah.
On 75.
It's crazy.
And down the street was a like a bad mechanic or something like that. And he said something. I don't remember what he said. We walked him over to the car and he goes, "That ain't coming off."
And I was like, "Oh, great." And I was broke as a joke.
So was I.
Yeah.
Like I think I spent like half the money I had in my pocket for that hotel room that night because we couldn't leave till the next morning.
I think I probably had like maybe $200, which was back then was kind of a lot of money for that trip. But I was like, man, it's gonna go fast.
I had gone to I was at Southeastern College and I went to they had just put out a choir.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm gonna go to Nashville. Will you give me gas money to go up and promote and try to get a record deal?
That's what you were doing.
Totally hustled it. Like I was like, and they like, yeah, we can give you like $100. I'm like, okay. So like absolutely insane.
I have to bring this one up and then we'll get into like, what's been going on with you like recently, but this story like is still the classic. I think I was dancing for Eric Champion, which was a miracle in itself. Eric Champion was like a Christian pop singer and you're like, bro. And this is when I first met you.
Oh man,
you were ecstatic about this, like, bro.
No, so there's so many things to be still feeling shame about.
She said
there was so. Can I? If you're gonna throw me under the bus, at least let me change the oil, okay? Can I change the oil while I'm under the bus? Because I deserve a whole tent under the bus.
I'll give you this. But he said, bro, can you get me on? I said, I think I can get you an audition. And so at the time, and maybe it was a couple years old, but you were like serious. You go,
I had just met you.
And you go,
it was like 94, 95.
You go, I can dance.
Yeah. I was convinced that I could be the other dancer. No question. Whatever it would take, I was getting in that. I was getting in the mix. You just gotta say it. Just say it. It's better if you say it. Right, just say it out there. I gotta say what I said.
I gotta set it up.
Tell them what I did.
It's not about saying what you said, but it's a setup. It's all about you did. It was Crystal. What was Crystal? What was it?
I Now Live.
I Now Live. I live. Sing it. All right. So that's it. And it had that break beat behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there. You get up and you go. And I can't even do this. So I'm gonna have to like do it like this way. You go.
It was two words: interpretive dance.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
You go, but you're like, all right, I roll a track, and you're like, she's doing this.
Oh yeah.
Start loosening up. You go,
focused. Yeah.
And then you go like this.
Limber. Yeah.
And then the track.
Yeah.
Kicks in and goes.
Yeah. Still in the moment.
And then you're like, you go, stop the track. Stop it.
Stop it.
All right. This means.
Had to explain it.
This means we're in bondage.
We're in bondage.
This means we're set free.
We're free.
All right, roll the track.
We're now roll it.
And so you start.
Let's be clear.
And so I'm waiting for this big buildup. You like start doing it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start doing it, and then you start doing the Roger Rabbit.
Absolutely.
Stepping. And I'm like,
of course.
This guy said he could dance.
Oh, how dare you, sir? Because first of all,
you were 10 years late with that dance.
Same routine won me first place at the Edison Community College Black History Month's talent show.
That's when you were 9 years old.
I was feeling myself months before. So you know what? I reject your haterism. You're sipping on haterade. That's all you are. Because that was certified. So 94.
But it was probably a 4-minute song. It was a very long 4 minutes.
Very long. Way too long.
And so you were excited just to be around like a contemporary Christian pop star.
I was a fire hose of intensity.
And you go, and Eric.
One more thing.
You go.
I said one more thing.
One more thing. You go, I can also do a front flip.
A front flip.
And he runs across the sanctuary and he does like this little handstand thing like this, and he rolls over. And I just remember Eric Jimmy goes, oh, a front flip.
Well, that. And I'm telling you, self-delusion is the worst drug that you can inject into your veins. Because I am sure, as the kids would say, I thought I ate. No crumbs left whatsoever. And that being said, every bit of your ridicule is well deserved. I don't think there's enough left. I think in 30 years from now, you should still bring this story up because
it's great.
Is it?
It's great.
It's great in like a train wreck meets a car crash.
We all have those stories. We all have those stories. I mean, there's tons of stories.
Well, all I know is I did not make the backup dancer crew,
and then I think I got cut a month and a half later.
Well,
because I wasn't keeping up with the choreography.
So there you go.
Like what? Step to the right. The big split of DDC there temporarily, but yeah,
just split over choreography.
Yeah, pretty much. Eric goes, well, I'm staying there, bro. I'm staying. Nevertheless, but man,
here we are.
30 years.
Who'd have thunk it?
30 years doing Christian hip hop. A lot of, and the thing that always sets you apart above everybody else, and you're still doing it, is the fact that your heart was pure. It was always about the ministry. You always put ministry first.
I did.
And I look back, and I might be wrong on this, but you have to speak into this. I always look at that as because you took 4 years of your life and went to Southeastern Bible College.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I did one whole semester.
That was it?
That was it. I dipped my toe in the pool, and they've kept me on the famous alumni ever since.
Really?
So thank you, Southeastern.
Wow. I thought you did maybe that was Manuel that I'm getting mixed up with.
Manuel did.
That's right.
Yes.
Because he was the same.
No.
Yeah.
No, I did one whole semester.
Wow. But you go back that
I went right into full-time ministry though. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I went on staff almost right after. Yeah.
And you did that temporarily, and then you would still do music on the weekends, and then you literally just kind of like you met Todd Collins with Goatee Brothers.
Yeah, it's a good 3 years in between that.
But you were doing stuff. I mean,
absolutely.
The Sons of Intellect.
Yeah, of course. There's the infamous Tribe Called Quest show.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that show.
Listen.
Yet Jeff shows up once again at my worst moments of my life. With sage advice, I have to say. You had the correct advice that I once again chose not to listen to.
You guys were set on it. So anyways, they would open up a Tribe Called Quest, and it was it was a packed house.
Packed out.
People ever want to see Tribe. I think Tribe was like talking about breaking up, so it was like a real hot show.
And Beats, Rhymes, and Life.
Yeah.
The record had just come out.
So this crowd was there for like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
They opened doors about 7, and I heard backstage, like, Tribe's not going on until midnight.
Yeah.
Crowd was packed for the minute the doors opened, and there was 4 openers. We were one of the openers, and it was supposed to be staggered. DJ Shadow was DJing. It was supposed to be like, an opener plays for 20 minutes, DJ spins for 40 minutes, and it was supposed to stagger through the whole thing. That's not what happened.
No.
The first 3 acts went back to back to back to back to back. The promoter flipped out, cussed everybody out, looked at us and said, "You're not going on for another hour." And the crowd just sat there with no...
Yeah, because didn't like Shaquille O'Neal's guys come in? They were called the Warheads.
Yes.
And they like bumped you or so. I don't know.
No, they went in the right order, but basically they went... What was supposed to happen was supposed to stagger and keep the crowd entertained for hours because Tribe wasn't playing until midnight. And they didn't do that. For some reason, all the openers just got excited and went back to back to back to back. The promoter flips out and says, "No one's going on stage for another hour plus." And it was just us left. We were the only ones left. So the crowd just sat there.
Oh, they were hostile.
With no...
They were hostile.
Nobody was telling them what was going on. The DJ's just spinning, And I never forget, because it was like the kiss of death right before we go on stage. The DJ goes, "Y'all ready for Tribe tonight?" I was like, "Yeah! Y'all ready for Tribe tonight? Yeah! Here's Sons of Intellect."
Yeah, but let's rewind that. You guys were rehearsing backstage.
Oh, yeah.
And you go, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
Yeah, this was...
Let me get your take on this.
Terrible idea.
And so your boy started beatboxing, and you like doing this old school like beatbox rhyming thing, and I go,
old school is only 1996. It's not...
Yeah, but... I think like beatbox 85, 86.
You're right. Listen, I'm still arguing with you.
Yeah.
30 years later, I'm still arguing with you about the legitimacy of that moment.
But you remember things better than I do. You got a great memory.
I do, but I don't know where my car keys are. But that being said, yes. You said very clearly, do not do that.
Yeah, you did this whole thing, and I'm like, whatever you do, don't do that. I said, that crowd's hostile out there. They're going for blood. Don't do it. And you go, you know what you're talking about. This is dope.
Because again, up to that point, we had been doing this routine that was killing it. Like we would do it in the projects, we'd do it in the hood, we'd do it at our shows. Like it was crushing. So again, this is the fallacy of youth mindset. Like when you're in your 20s, no one can tell you
No one can tell you anything.
No one can tell you anything. And this is a good indication of my, like my hard-headedness, that why would I ask your opinion and then completely disregard it?
You've always done that. You know what you're talking about. You can't even rap, Jeff.
I never said that. I never said that to you. That's a lie. Mentirosa. I never said that to you. I did try to battle you, though. I do remember that.
Oh, yeah. I remember
the sound check. And you
won. Of course you
I kept trying to set it on you while we were sound checking.
Yeah.
Which is obnoxious.
But I still remember, too, because you brought this. We were talking, I don't know the last time we talked, but you brought up something I did at that story, and I totally remembered it. Like, it was a big part of the story. So Shaquille and I had this group called the Warheads, and they were like these huge, brothers, dude. And
scary looking.
And you had to walk
scary looking dudes.
You had to walk up on the staircase to get to the stage.
Yes.
And I just remember I was just standing there waiting for you guys to go on, but these guys are going on before you.
Right.
And I look at this one of these hard guys, looks like he just got out of jail or something. And I said, "Hey, excuse me, sir." I said, "We have a hat policy in this club." And he goes, "For real?" I'm like, and I go, "Yeah, you need to take your hat off." And he goes, "Oh man,
it was just." You have to understand, like, these guys up to this point had not said a word. They would do what I could only describe as an Indian war call in the middle of their songs. Yes. They would go like, it'd be like this slow grinding beat. They're just angry, just screw face. And then all of a sudden you're in the middle of the song, you're like, these guys are going to kill somebody tonight. So everything about it was just like, these must be the hardest dudes, like straight out the pen. And Jeff, being Jeff, stands at the entrance. There's only one entrance to go onto the stage. Like, he looks like he's security because he goes into his little goofball mode, which you never stop. And you stood there, and they were about to go up, and I'll never forget it because you go, "We have a no hat policy," and the way he reacted, he goes, "Oh man!" Like, as though he just broke character at that moment. I went, "This is just a show. What are you doing? What am I scared of these guys for?" And you never broke character. They went on, and then you said, you go, "I'm just kidding, man. I don't even work here." And they're like, "Oh yeah, thanks, bro." And they put the hats back on. Didn't even miss a beat. Went right back into character. Went on stage.
I'm cracking myself.
And I just look at Jeff like, this dude. I was like, "I'm glad you're here." And then you're like, "Don't do whatever you do. Don't do the beatbox." We're like, "Nah, man, you don't know what you're talking about." And literally the beatbox is what incited the crowd into pure hatred. Pure rage.
But you know what was crazy? I was watching the whole thing. So I had a bird's eye view of what was going on. And I still remember this. And this is what I had so much respect for you, because you could literally do the walk of shame after that, because they were hostile. They were throwing things on the stage.
They had thrown stuff at the previous artist. And the stage was littered and stuff.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It started booing and you didn't know how to react, and you started walking back. But then you went back to the microphone. You gave your evangelist spill. So you said, "Jesus is Lord," and you said something else, and you didn't care who was going to throw something at you. You wanted to make sure that was known, and then you ran off the stage.
Well, yes, you're correct. You're missing one key point. Once we started doing the beatbox, it was just a pocket of people started like getting mad.
Yeah.
Well, all the stuff that the previous artist had thrown into the crowd all of a sudden became projectiles. So I'm like dodging what's being thrown at me, and it's an a cappella moment, and I was just like, I looked at Golden Child, who was my partner then, my rhyme partner, and I said, "Hey man, let's just like, we got to call it, let's go." And that's when I walked off. Turned around, he was still on stage yelling at the crowd. He's like, "I'll battle anybody right here, right now," which took them from, "We don't like you," to, "We're going to kill you, white boy." Like, that's when they were like ready to come get him. So when I went back on, yes, it was to like salvage the moment. And then it was also to save him from being attacked by probably 700 angry Puerto Ricans that day. That's what happened. So I was like and it also changed my ministry mindset. Like, I had this going into that, my mindset was win the crowd, be a dope MC, then tell them about God. And I realized that day that I'd rather be booed for who I am in Christ than who I am as an MC. And I changed it that day, and I never went back, and I never had that problem again.
That was, I mean, for me, I was like, and I had so much respect for you after you did that. I'm like, dang, this guy is for real. Because I knew you. Yeah. I didn't know you like that. Yeah. And I knew that you had bold faith, but not bold faith like that. I go, this guy, this wasn't a Christian event. This was a mainstream event.
It was.
I mean, these people were out for blood.
Yeah.
And you took it. I said, that is true evangelism.
That sounds great. All these years later, I left that so dejected we walked into the, like, I remember looking at, and it was Consequence. Q-Tip's cousin was actually down in the audience, or down in the backstage, and he saw us, he saw that happen. He goes, don't sweat it. Just keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, I looked at Jack Goldenchild, I was like, let's just go. Let's just get out of here. And we got into the parking lot, going to my car, and someone stopped me and said, you guys are Christians, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, or this girl, she goes, that made my night. I don't need to see Tribe now.
Wow.
But we drove home those 3.5 hours in silence.
Yeah.
Like pure silence, like just absolutely rejected. And the irony is that a week later, someone called me and said, do you want to open up for Mobb Deep? In a couple weeks,
Yeah.
down the street from where I grew up in Ybor City.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, I do. And I changed it. I said, from now on, whatever I do in that, it has to be Jesus first out of my mouth. And when I did that at Mobb Deep, it just shifted the whole crowd. And ironically, 10 years later, almost to the day, I headlined that same stage when it was the Christian club, and I got to share the gospel in the same place I got thrown off the stage.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But Jesus sustained you all these years, man.
Absolutely.
You made that one commitment at a Tribe show, and then everything changed for you. Like 30 years. I mean, 30 years you've been doing this, and you've been doing other things. Like you're a pastor now.
Yeah.
Like how? I knew you were always you were on staff at churches, but how did this come to play out where you took a pastor position at a church?
Right around 2019, I should say around 2016, I went on staff back at a church that I've known for a long time, but they allowed me to continue to travel. So I did everything in those next 2 years. I was, the youth pastor, I was the college pastor, I was the teaching pastor. I did multiple things there. But I honestly saw the writing on the wall by around 2019, and it was that I have to start planning for what my next 20 years is. Yeah. Because that had been my 20 years up till then. And I also knew that I couldn't raise my kids from 7 states away.
Right.
My boys were getting older.
Yeah.
My son was getting older. And I knew that what I needed to do was start making plans with that in mind. And the industry had changed too. Like I had to also be realistic about myself. I had done 7,000 reinventions to get to that point.
Right.
But I'm like, there comes a point where you just have to go, there comes a time where you just have to think about what the next step is. So, but it was a complete faith leap. Like,
right.
I interviewed with multiple churches, and it was at a church 10 minutes from down the road.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing I really try to, with creatives, young creatives, because, I don't think I can't put you in the box because you are always about ministry. But a lot of people, they get this download from God and they think that's just this one gift. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah. I think you were spread out from the get-go with your giftings. You knew exactly where the Lord positioned you. Yeah. But a lot of people go, hey, I'm a rapper. And to define yourself, hey, I'm a rapper, you're really limiting God and what the other giftings that he has for your life, because, you could be a rapper.
Putting yourself first.
It could be a season of your life.
That's your identity.
Yeah.
It's wrapped up in it. That's a very small package.
Yeah. But you always got that from the get-go. That's what I always respected about you. It's like, man, he gets it. He gets it, And
you give me too much credit, but thank you.
No, you did. I watched.
Appreciate it.
I mean, even when I stopped doing, I got into management on the Christian side.
Some of it is faking it till you make it.
Nah, dude, you're always solid, dude.
Appreciate it.
And you just impacted the whole culture too. Like you can say like Toby Mac, but you say like when it comes to like the Christian rap white dudes, everybody says KJ-52. To this day, I mean, your name pops up. I still remember. I was at home, 2003. I was watching VH1. It was the worst hip hop moment.
Oh, you were there for. You are like the Forrest Gump of my life. I have just realized the VH1 moment. You were the first one to call me when that happened.
You're at the airport.
I never forget that.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, why are they bashing my boy?
You're absolutely right. That came completely out of nowhere. I never forget. I stepped off the plane, checked my voicemail, and you said, yo, man, they did you dirty. Don't worry, God's in control. Click. I had no context to anything of what you were saying because I had no idea where that was coming from.
Yeah. I couldn't.
You were the first one I talked to.
What are you talking about? You're on VH1, worst hip hop moments of all time, doing the song Dear Slim to Slim Shady.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was crazy that you even got put on that list, because you were on when you came out with that song, you were on Total Request Live back then. Was huge. I mean, it was like Carson Daly, and it was like that was the massive show to be on, and they put you on that show too.
Yeah, again, that was completely out of nowhere. Brandon, the label owner, had sent the video to VH1 or MTV2, and then they said, we're going to play it or we're going to play it and make it controversial. And it just sat there for a month. So we all gave up on it. We didn't think anything was going to happen. The way it happened was completely out of the blue. I was stuck in a car line somewhere in Toronto, and they're playing it now. It's like my wife's brother had the phone up to the TV while I heard it. So I was like, what is happening with my life right now?
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It was crazy just to see that too, because I remember like when me and Nolly really started talking, he had Heaven's Hip Hop Magazine, he'd give me all these demos to listen to.
Yeah.
And I remember your demo, especially because you paid for advertising on there. And I saw this white kid. I go, oh, he's from Florida. I said, Nolly, give me his number.
Yeah.
Because I heard musically and stylistically what you do. And I said, this kid's going places. Not that I was that much older than you, but I was like, man, this kid's going places. Because at the time you were a teenager. I said, this guy's got it.
Yeah,
whatever he's doing, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
And I always knew that. I heard 1,000 in Flight. And you had the knack of knowing what was currently in the pocket of like what was current music back then. You were like totally, you knew what was going on. It's the same thing I had. I mean, I made sure my beats were like what was happening in the culture. And I said, this guy's going somewhere. But you always had that. You maintained like 30 years of doing this, and you've impacted, multiple artists along the way. I'm sure they've called you like, hey man,
Well, that's what's so crazy is what I'm working on right now is with Marty from Social Club.
Yeah.
Who was like, you were the first one to show me that I can be uniquely myself, but still be true to hip hop. And so most of the stuff he's been sending me production wise has been a return to like where it all started.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want the funny KJ. I don't want the self-deprecating KJ. I want the, rip your head off, rappy rap KJ. I'm like,
yeah,
right, sure, let's do that.
Bring in the heat. But yeah, man, it's like, it's crazy, man, because I think about like, you think like Toby Mac and you think KJ-52's. At that time, I mean, when you ask like people probably like 30 and up now, when you say Christian rap, people say the first thing comes out of mouth is KJ-52. I'm not even kidding you, man. It's rare, but like for me, like on the up and up, like I got to know, Chris Cooper from SFC, Soup the Chemist. And he, we tried to link up a couple times when he was in Lakeland. But he posts something, and that Phase 3 record for me is like my all-time phenomenal Christian hip-hop record of all time. So like for him, like that was a guy, but there's so many multiple artists. I talked to Christian rap like KJ was it for me. KJ was the inspiration for me.
So crazy.
Can you believe? I mean, that's just it's
I think at the time I was just trying to survive. I did hit like an epiphany where I was like, okay, I don't want people to know me as just a dope rapper. I want to be known as like songs that change lives. What I was saying was the first album came out and it was just things like, yo man, the bars are dope and blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't hearing like, oh, that song changed my life. So the second album, I definitively went into it going, I don't want to be known just as a dope MC. I want to be known as someone who writes songs that impact people. So I did have to shift. I mean, the first album I got dropped. So like I hit rock bottom like right away. So that also changed a lot of things.
6 Dove Awards.
6 Dove Awards.
I think one of them, this what I always loved about you. I mean, there was a time, because I was managing a Group 1 crew, that there was a time, I think you were winning all the Doves, and then Group 1 crew came.
Oh, absolutely.
And started winning them.
Yeah.
But you won. I think it was like the turning point. Group 1 won a Dove, and then you won. Yeah. Like we all knew in our back of minds, like Lecrae deserves this award.
That was the conversation.
Tell him what you did with one of your Doves with Lecrae.
You knew this?
Yeah, you told me this. You told me what you were going to do with your Dove Award when you were there when you won it.
I told you that?
Yes, you did.
So that actually started with a conversation with Manuel, because we both were like, we don't deserve this. Yeah. We both looked at each other like, the guy in the audience that's watching us win these is actually the guy who deserves it.
Right.
And Manuel was something like, well, maybe we should just give it to him. And I'm like, yeah, maybe we should. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. He might have said something like that. And I was like, no, I think I am going to do that. The irony was, what kept happening is they kept calling me up for Doves and giving me a fake one. And they said, we don't have your Dove Award ready. Take this fake one when you go through and do your press. So I'd go sit down with the fake one and they go, we still don't have it. Just hang on to it. So I'm like, I've got a fake Dove Award with nothing on it. And then at the end of the night, they're like, just hang on to it. It doesn't matter. We're going to mail you the Dove to you. And I was like, oh, okay. So then basically what ended up happening is I got my Dove, I kept the fake one, and then by a glitch, they mailed me another one.
Yeah, they like to send the extra Doves.
So they sent me 2 that I didn't need, and I was able to take the duplicate, rip the thing off of it, and I put on it best song and best album. And I actually went to the the trophy maker, and I put Lecrae's name on it. And so I got his address, and he was, contemporary of mine, but I was like, I sent that to him because I'll never forget. I walked out with my dove. He was sitting in the audience, and I looked at him and I was like, peace, man. And he goes, God's in control. God's in control. And I knew what he was saying. He was saying that to himself out of the frustration. He was trying to recorrect himself to not be angry at me or Manuel for winning it, but just recentering himself. And I'm like, I'm not going to stand for this. So when I finally got all that fixed and I sent it to him, I didn't tell him. He just got it and called me up, and he was like, I can't believe you sent me these. And I never told anybody. I didn't broadcast it. I said, listen, if you never get one in your life, just know that I know that you deserve this. You deserve this. And it actually changed our relationship, because up to that point we were just kind of like contemporaries. But after that, it was like, it just shifted what that was. And I always just thought that how divine that was scripted, that I would get extra ones.
Right.
And I never won another one after that.
Yeah, because I remember, was that in Atlanta when that happened? They moved it to the Atlanta?
No, it was in Nashville. It was still in Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was like one time, that's when I was working with Exist, I had the label Exist.
Yeah.
I was with Ambassador and The Truth. We were at a restaurant next door where it's like first year I went to Atlanta to do the Dove Awards, and Group 1 won again, and they're like, oh man, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I go, hey, at this point, I'm just taking them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was like a stride, I
just remembered I did win one after that. Here's the only reason why I remember it is because I had just come from the storage unit, cleaning out my storage unit, and I was only up there because someone paid for my trip. The label wouldn't pay for me to go, and I only made it to the stage with 10 minutes. I had changed in a rider van. Yeah. I had changed on the way there, got on stage, just gotten it, and I was kind of like, this is the end of my career, from that standpoint. And the bottom literally kept falling out of the Dove. And I was like, this is such a picture of the music industry. I'd be like, hey, I just want to thank everybody. Boom, the bottom would fall out in front of everybody. And I'm like, just kind of shows you where the music business is right now. We don't even have enough glue to glue the bottom of these Dove Awards.
Dove Awards.
And that's when I remembered, I was like, I think I'm done with the industry from now on.
I started with me, it's like, I think I have like 6 physical.
Yeah.
And then I know I have other ones that they go, hey, you're like a manager involved. If you want to spend $250, we'll send it to you. I'm like, you just keep your Dove Award. I'm not paying.
The funny thing about a Dove is that no one really knows outside of the Christian music arc knows what it is. But when you say it, people are like, whoa, yeah.
It's a Christian Grammy.
You could be like, I've got a Johnny Pigeon.
No one really
Pigeon.
It's
people are like, oh. Like, it's like a theater of,
Now, were you involved? Like, we did this big spoof, like people like that were kind of jaded by the Christian industry. Like, we started doing things like things you can do with Dove Awards, and we did these memes. No. Like Jeff Savage, he was a producer for like Toby Mac.
Yeah.
Like, he came up with the best one. He made like it holds toilet paper. So he took the 2 Dove ends. Like, he started doing all these memes.
But I had taken mine and I would flip it when it kept falling out. If I flipped it upside, and I kept telling people it was a pimp cup, and I was putting drinks into it because it had a hole at the bottom. I was like, we can't keep a bottom on it. Might as well drink out of it, like a chalice.
Doves.
Anyway.
Yeah, man.
Because here's the thing. I was, in spite of however I felt, I was like still grateful that any type of recognition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But let's face it. You did so much for Christian hip hop. Those awards that you did win, you did because, you were like, you had this level like where a lot of the Christian rappers, you kind of broke the ice for like, there was Toby. I think T-Bone kind of got those barriers, but you were like the really legitimate first Christian rapper that really break in the CCM industry on a level where you're touring with like Mercy Me, Newsboys.
Yeah.
And
that was a decided, I had to make compromises to get to there. But I remember Todd told me, he goes, if you compromise now, you'll get what you want later. And it was prophetic what he said.
Yeah.
So
moving forward, you got a new record coming out, and
it's like an EP.
Yeah. And you still, obviously, you're here. You still get bookings. You still.
It's because my man Sam asked me to come, and anything Sam says, I'm there.
You do it. So how many shows do you do like a year now?
Oh, not many.
Not many at all.
I mean, if I do it strategically. I know I'm called to disciple and pour into the people that I lead.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just throw that away just for another lock-in.
Yeah. So when do you think, I don't think you're ever going to literally, it's just part of you. It's like something you like to do, right?
It's still an incredibly powerful way to get people's attention.
Yeah.
that never changes.
And you've shifted. I mean, you've shifted with sounds. Because I've always, anytime you drop something, I always listen to it. I was like, man, KJ have shifted with the sound. You're always staying current, and you're bringing it. I mean, you have like longevity. A lot of artists can't do that. You know, I was like actually LL Cool J, and I go, man, and I hate that you go, no way, but comparison-wise, career-wise, like Christian side, you're like the Christian LL Cool J. Because you're always, I listen to some of the songs you sent me, dude. It's like, it's current, bro. It's like you're hitting it. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I just realized you always have to have somebody older than you that's gone ahead, and you always have to have somebody younger than you that will pull you back down, like to earth. So someone said always have a Paul and always have a Barnabas.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I always have a Paul and always have a Timothy.
Yeah.
So like that helps a lot. You know what I mean? But also, I'll be honest with you too, I've also come to a place where I feel very comfortable in who I am.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to make music for the sake of, you know, impressing Gen Z kids or Gen A alpha kids. Like, I've also realized who my audience is, and I'm really content with that.
Yeah.
You know, if other people come in with that, great. But I don't want to be the old man in the club or the guy, you know, that meme where it's like, how do you do today, fellow kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can clearly tell this guy's like 80 years old.
Right.
So part of that was like something as simple as just letting the gray come in and
Yeah.
not being embarrassed about it. You know,
It's wisdom.
it's a crown.
Hip hop
That's
wisdom.
what the Bible says. Gray hair is a crown
Yeah.
of wisdom for those that can get it. You know?
But yeah, I know you got to hit sound check. But what can you say to the younger generation, this whole new Instagram era where these artists taking off? What can you tell like a younger Christian rapper? What could you tell them to encourage them?
I don't know, man. It's the same thing I've said for years, which is listen to God and listen to people. Like if you're locked into what God's downloading to you, you're gonna be pretty much okay. But you also need to listen to the people. Like listen to those that are around you, listen to the wisdom of people, but also listen to those that you're trying to like impact.
Yeah.
Like you need to talk to them and go, is this song, you know, hitting? Is it working?
Right.
So,
and it's something we do in closing. We've talked about Jesus, this man Jesus that's transformed my life and your life. Can you like look in the camera and just really lead someone and tell someone about Jesus?
sure. Right here?
Yeah.
Well, I would tell you the same thing that was told to me when I was 15 is that Jesus is still in the business of changing lives. I didn't grow up going to church or anything like that. I gave my life to Christ in my bedroom by myself. And I really sought to find out who God was for myself, which meant I prayed a very simple prayer, which was, God, if you're real, prove it to me. And if you do, I'll follow you. You know, that's the bargain I made with God. And I just started to read the Bible for myself, started to study for myself. And I would just have to say that you can have the same relationship. We live in a very instantaneous world, and it's hard to find things that last forever. But I can tell you the same decision I made at 15 is the same decision that is just as real to me now. So find out for yourself. I guarantee it will change your life.
Awesome. KJ.
Yes, sir.
Let's not wait another 30 years to do this, all right?
I don't know, but we would
We'll be in a nursing home.
We would be on. We'd probably have like robot parts.
I would
we'd
be
be plugged into the wall downloading software.
I'd be in a diaper with my shirt off at a nursing home. They did a meme of
Just
me.
a diaper?
Yeah, just a diaper.
I'm okay with that.
But thanks so much for
Appreciate you, man.
taking time, man. And check us out again on the next episode. We'll see you real soon.